for arcane attack, and then you increase your defense at the same time, so you're not really leveling up arcane defense. So the issue might be in the outfit. I need something like this, but this significantly lowers my defense, well, even though the arcane goes up. So what I might have to do is to increase my defense and my arcane at the same time, because the way I see it is anything that has high arcane on it takes down your defense. Like blood loss in this takes your defense down significantly. And anything that has high defense on it typically has about average arcane. So you want to get to something like 60. And in this, he has good blunt defense, but his arcane is 110, which is not bad. But then here, the arcane is like 150, but the defense goes down. So I'm trying to look to see if I could get something at a 120 arcane, which means if I'm gonna go for 120 arcane, I just slightly need to increase my defense up. Tomb gives me about 120 arcane, but blood defense goes down, and Executioner has the best setup for this, so I'll leave that. Constable is not too bad either. I think Gascoigne gives you about 10% more with regards to thrust and arcane, but lowers your defense by 20. So it's a toss up between defense and arcane. So I might have to increase his defense slightly more than I did if I'm going to be wearing arcane, nothing but arcane outfits, because that's the only thing that makes sense. If you're going to increase your arcane, your defense is going to go down. This is 60. This is 70. This is 80. My shoes is 80. I think that's the highest you could get with arcane, so I guess something around 70. Maybe I could find something at 70. Student, the blunt goes down by 50. What's the blunt on this? 70. Okay, so Maria. Students. Blood loss is pretty good here. So it's between blood loss, defense, and arcane. It's mostly arcane and blood loss and defense. That's the thing. this white shirt trousers is pretty good, but defense goes down by 30 compared to executioner. This is not bad. So tomb. So it's what I'll have to do is I'll have to increase my defense by at least 10 more points, which means I'll have to level up by 10 more points. Well, what I'll do is I'll fight him again and see how it goes. If I really do need to do that, because I added my arcane, 2 arcane defense and 1 defense. So I basically lowered the defense and put more into arcane. So we'll see how that works. Not exactly sure if it's a good idea. Prepare my weapon. Making sure. Level 15, level 17, level 16. I'm trying to get like level 18 and 19 and 20 gems, but I need those specific chalices to get those ones. So I haven't got those yet. So I'll try a few more times and see what happens. Switching from defense to more arcane. But who knows? I did get him for a visceral. I think I should have put that on as well. But we'll see what happens. If I put on the claw mark for more the visceral damage, I don't think it'll change that much. But maybe it'll be the difference between winning and losing. And yeah, also, which is a very bad thing, is like I only have 1 claw mark. I should actually have 2 claw marks. I need to know where the other claw mark is. So we'll see. Yeah, I was being greedy. Yeah, I was just being greedy. That's all it was. That one was just me being greedy. Just trying to speed up the fight to the second bout. That's just me being greedy. But if it's not me being greedy, then that means the defense one works better than putting on more arcane. But we'll see. I think that's one of the problems. That's one of the problems with fighting him. By not having the lock on, by not putting the lock on, you cannot see where you're rolling once you're behind him, which is a bad thing. Because you're trying to see where you are behind him, but you don't have the lock on. So it doesn't really work. Even though people say it's not a good idea to have the lock on in the second phase. But it doesn't really work, because when you're trying to roll around him, you cannot see where you are. And so you're getting hit, but you don't know where you're getting hit from. So I think it's rather foolish. I think you're supposed to, maybe I will just wait. I'll just wait till he, because I'm trying to speed up to get him to the second phase. I'll just wait. Wait for him to do it. Once he does an attack, I'll just wait. The first phase is not that big of a deal. It's just the second phase, you have to really stay behind him. But the problem with the second phase is that he spins around faster than he does in the first phase. So it's very annoying. know, it's like it's hard. You gotta stay directly on his ass, but it's hard to stay directly on his ass because he spins around so fast. Like the lock on works, but the window between you dodging to the side and getting a hit is so small. It's like you only are allowed to get like maybe one hit off on his second phase, because you have, he does like 3-hit combos, and it's I don't know, I don't know what it is. The first phase is not a problem. Like the first phase is not really a problem. It's just once you get past it, is, you know, it's really, it's just bullshit. The first phase, the second phase is the one you gotta really worry about. But it's always annoying to me because you don't get enough time to do a hit in the second phase because he's constantly spinning around. Like I don't really give a fuck about the first phase. Is the second phase is the annoying one because he's always like, he kind of, you're directly behind him, but yet you're still hit by his sword. Like his hands definitely. What doesn't make sense is that his hands, when it spins around, fuck out of here. He got me on that one because he was lucky, because I didn't heal myself. Like I never worry about his first phase because his first phase is his cowardly phase. The second phase is where he actually wants to fight you. A lot of people say his first phase is where he's super aggressive, but like it's not really. Like his second phase is where he's more aggressive because he's constantly slamming towards the ground and you have to stay directly behind him. Like as long as you could knock him out of the first phase, you're good with the first phase. The second phase is the problem, not the first. Ill bitch, get what's coming to you. You know what? This is why I always say you really shouldn't listen to people. Because imagine what would have happened if I had just keep going behind him all the time instead of just keep hitting him while I'm under him. Like keep hitting him over and over and over and over again. Like if imagine what would have happened if I just so the people that tell you the strategy of go behind him when he's in the sword phase, that's complete bullshit. You go to the side of him and keep hitting him, or when he's about to take a swing, keeps getting mad hit from the swing, and then when you get an opportunity to stun him, heal yourself and then hit him. Like the only time you go directly behind him is when he's about to do that downward slam. You dodge to the side and then you keep hitting him and hitting him. You dodge again to the side and hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. You might get hit, but you don't stop hitting him. That was the strategy I used there. That's all there is to it. There's no stay behind him in the second phase and keep hitting him from behind. That's a lie. The phase is the same as it's always been. First phase, you stay behind him in the first phase, or to the far side of him in the first phase. That's what you do. Or you dodge into him to the right when he's about to take a swing, or to the left when you're about to swing, and stay under him, and never leave the, like say, you don't leave a large gap. You close in the gap. You stay on him the whole fight, for the second and the first fight. You always stay on him. That's what you do. Even you might have to heal. Don't heal when he's in front of you, because he knows you're about to do a heal like this, and then he'll charge you because you know the time for which you do the heal and the time for which you can't jump out of the heal and you get hit. So only heal when you're like under him and you hit him and he's spinning around to try to find you, then you heal. And in the second phase, there's none of that standing behind him bullshit that people are talking about. That doesn't work. You dodge to it once, he goes on the ground with the sword, and then on the ground with sword again, and on the ground with sword again. Then you keep hitting him and hitting him and hitting him and hitting him, and he might hit you once or twice if you got at least a decent amount of health. But eventually he gets stunned, and by the time he gets stunned, and that's when you heal like this, and then you keep dodging, and he and and on the floor again, and then he might hit you up into the air, and then he'll walk around you to try to enlarge the gap. And what you do is, no, you don't let him enlarge the gap. You stay beside him, to the left of him or to the right of him, mostly to the left, and then let him and how I beat him? I beat him with the lock on. I didn't beat him with not having the lock on, because the not having the lock on disables the lock on camera, which you cannot see where you are once you're behind him. So I engaged the lock on, and I stayed one swing down, two swing down if he caught me, three swing down, let him finish his combo, and then go boom, boom, boom to the stomach. And if he hit me again, I just then do the heal, and then I go boom, 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 boom. And I made sure I had on my stamina ruin, and I made sure I slightly increased my stamina to about, I believe, 5% more, because originally I was at 30 and 30 with both my health and my 30 and 30 with my health and my stamina. So what I did is I increased the health by 5, and then I increased the stamina by 5, and I increased my strength by 5. So I went from 100 to like 115, and that's what I did. And I put on both arcanes, because in his second phase he's doing arcane and hit defense, so that's what you do in the second phase. In the first phase, he's not using arcane a lot. The second phase, he's using arcane a lot, and you're getting hit with both swing damage and arcane damage. So you have to keep on arcane defense.
Tell me, good hunter of the church, have you seen the light? Are my church hunters the honorable Spartans? I hoped they would be.
So that's what I did. I think I might have, I don't know. I gave 5 points. I increased everything by about 15 or 20 more. So I'm about to get off this and I'm about to go for a walk.
That is a
Well-deserved walk.
To know I did not suffer
And I'll hop on
such
Warframe later on
denigration
today.
for nothing. Thank you kindly. Now I may sleep in peace.
See, what time is it?
Even in this darkest of nights, I see the moonlight.
So, all these people who died here died because of him. He basically was a monster and eventually killed all of them. And then he's talking about, you know, looking for a glimmer of hope and stuff. But like, you kill a bunch of people because you're a monster. But like, you cannot talk about hope when you're a monster. That's some bullshit, you know. That's like a murderer saying, well, I gotta look for hope in something. But like, motherfucker, you're not trying to look for no hope. You're just trying to look for your next victim. The only murderers who get hope are those who like are born again type. Those who like dedicate themselves to not follow that path anymore. In other words, if they don't uphold to what they claim that they're going to do, change their life and become a completely new, then it's void and it's pointless. That's why they're called born again. Because they're actively practicing being a completely different person. And if they fail at it, it's because it was their nature of who they are from their previous life is something that they cannot bend or break. Which means if the nature of who you are, being a bad person, is something you can't bend or break. But it doesn't matter whatsoever at all. I mean, it does matter a little that you were trying. But the fact is, you didn't really want it to try. Because most people, here's the best part, most people do that shit on the normal every day. What the hell? You're still here? Most people do the shit that they claim that, like, criminals claim that's so hard on a regular day. Get up, eat their food, wash their clothes, do their laundry, go for a walk, go to work, come back from work, pay bills, finish paying bills, have time off, go watch a movie, go to a park or something, study. If they're with their wife or with their husband, they have sex with their wife or their husband or their girlfriend or boyfriend every now and again. Rinse and repeat this process. Learn new trades, know new tricks. Maybe get a dog, maybe get a cat. Maybe don't get either. But they just rinse and repeat the daily prerequisites of just living. Not of surviving, just living. And it's not hard for most people at all. It's just life. But for these motherfuckers, criminals, it's hard for them because they see themselves as more important than everyone else, and thus their ego and their determination and their will and everything else skyrockets, and they don't want to take a long time to work to earn their money, and they don't want to wait for their pay, and they don't want to study enough to get their certificate or their license or their degree. They want a faster way to do it because it's annoying to do things the hard way, you know. And they don't want an average girlfriend, they want a hot girlfriend, but they don't do much of anything to improve their hotness. But they expect some hot woman to expect to be with their non-hotness. And they want to acquire many things, like they want to acquire physical strength faster instead of working for it. There's a lot of things. So let me just kill these dude. Like, everything a criminal does is always to find a quicker way to get to an end, because they believe that's the smartest way to do something. This is the quickest way to do it, to get me to this end without sacrificing much. But the problem with reality is failure and sacrifice. You don't learn from failure, then you haven't learned much of anything. Most criminals would say, well, they know more about sacrifice and failure than anyone because they've fallen. But we're not talking about the aftermath. We're talking about before the aftermath, you know, because plenty of people fail all the time. Fail at school, fail at working out, fail at many things. And they don't straight up become criminal, get locked up, have to work out getting locked up, have to pay their dues to society because they're criminal, so now they have to owe things to society, and people see them in certain ways, so now they have to work twice as hard to gain anything that people who don't have to work twice as hard. But the truth is, like, the same people who are working hard to do those things, they still have to work hard to do those things. They don't have to do twice as hard because they decide to follow the rules. You're not really better than someone because you have to work twice as hard as them. You're just more broken because you decide to take an easy path. So now you have to deal with it. You're not a harder worker than them. You're just more broken worker than them. It's that simple, you know. People work 15, 16, 8 hours. It doesn't matter. You have to work double their hours simply because you decided to take the lazy man's way out and wanted to shortchange it. And then when society punishes you for it, you then have to work twice as hard now, more than the people who are working hard. And then you're saying you're better than them now because you now have to work twice as hard as them. But before, they were working twice as hard as you when you were taking the easier route out before you became a criminal, you know. So I'm never fooled at criminals when they tell me this, like, I gotta work twice as hard because I have this conviction, I have probation. But like, who were you before that? Were you working twice as hard as everyone else before that? No, you were trying to work the cheapest, easiest way before that. You weren't working twice. Those people doing the right thing were working twice as hard as you, while you was doing the easiest way. So I always laugh at them and stuff, and like, go fuck yourself, man. Right? If you were working twice as hard for what you got to do in life, twice as much misery, twice as much pain, twice as much suffering, that's because you fucked up. Nobody got sympathy for you. Go fuck yourself and walk that way. If you want to knock motherfuckers out for saying that, and it proves that you have not learned anything. And there's no point in calling yourself born again, because you'll just go back to the bottle all over again. Why am I saying this? It's like Ludwig here. I could have easily did the cheese and completely kept playing it and kept playing it and kept looking for ways to do the cheese over and over and over, and eventually it would work. Or I could have kept summoning people over and over and over with all my insights until I have 0 insights and finally beat them. Even using NPCs and finally beat them. But I didn't. I just slightly increased my level. I didn't have any blood gems different from the last time. And I said, fuck you to this guy. Kill all these fucking people. And talking about light and shit. Like, look at this place. That's when you know a motherfucker is evil as shit. Like, the light is holding to me. I could cling to the light. I could remember who I once were. But like, it doesn't matter who you think you once were, and hopefully you will find some peace. Look around you. That's real. Your ass is going to hell, homie. But here's the thing with regards to Ludwig. In this game, it's all about corruptions. They decide to use the Celestials' powers, and eventually all that stuff, mixing with their science, corrupted them and turned them into what they are, craved lunatic people. So their science and their inquisitive nature broke them. They weren't 100% corrupt. The corruption of their desire for knowledge broke them. So in many ways, it's their own greed that broke them. So maybe they were corrupt. So I think so. I think that's the real moral lesson. That they were probably corrupt from the very beginning. No matter what. They just wanted more than everyone else. Wanted things to be more justified under the church. And to weed out bad things using their own moral hyperboles to make society better without checking themselves, and then they get transformed into their true selves. Yeah, fuck this guy. Alright, so that's it for him. I'm out. Audi 1000. Let's see what time it is. Well, I have enough time to push forward a little. So